Hi everyone, my name is Eddie. I spent 17 years surfing in cold Southern California water, and about 10 years into that experience, I started noticing some sort of movement in my ear, and I attributed that to maybe pinching my nostrils when I sneezed and unhinging something, one of those urban legends. It got worse and worse. I would yawn or I would come up from a duck dive and I'd hear this scratching, crinkling, annoying noise right on my left ear. And it didn't occur to me that it might be surfer's ear until I read some story about it. I thought maybe, how we self-diagnose when we read stuff on the internet. Maybe I had surfer's ear, not quite sure. Then in 2014, towards the end of my stay in California and surfing there, I went on a trip to Nicaragua with my family. And on the plane, with the pressure or something, I'm not sure what, my ear sealed up. And the whole time I was down there, I had mono audio capabilities. I could not hear out of my left ear. It was extremely annoying. It was brutal surfing with it because I would spend the session just trying to clear my ear, trying to get it to pop and get that glorious feeling of being able to hear out of both ears. I tried drops. I tried sleeping with the drops in my ear and just having it sit there all night, maybe thinking optimistically it would dissolve it at some point in the middle of the night, and that never did happen. I went back to the States after the trip was over, went to a doctor. He gave me some drops, not quite sure what it was to this day, but he told me I had surfer's ear. I ended up moving away from California, and it turned out that my wife became pregnant, and I figured if we're going to be spending all this money on fetal scans and paying the obstetrician fees to deliver the baby, we could burn through the deductible and I could get my ears done. If, in fact, someone else with a second opinion agreed that I had it and it was medically necessary to take care of that. So I believe it was in June of last year, 2016, I went and got it checked out at an ear specialist. And he said my left ear was 99% closed up and my right ear was 95% closed up. And I had no idea that my right ear was also affected. So we made plans for surgery the following month. The first surgery went well. There were a few hiccups before, but that was mostly the hospital's fault. A lot of variables, and so things are bound to go wrong. Hopefully they're little things, obviously. But I woke up from the surgery and the pain was nasty. Later that day, as the anesthesia wore off, they gave me Norco as painkillers, and that helped. But I had extreme nausea. They gave me this thing that looked like a jock strap, but fitted for an ear to kind of protect it from impact. And it was there was packing in there, that dissolvable packing, and my ear had tinnitus. I learned it was pronounced tinnitus. I've been pronouncing this tinnitus my whole life, but it's pronounced tinnitus. This constant ringing of the ear from that. They use a combination method of chipping away at it and also using a high-speed drill. And the high-speed drill especially is super loud and causes that. It took 17 days of full-on tinnitus, non-stop. It just varied in volume. At times, it would be like someone was shrieking in my ear, especially at night. I don't know if it was because the ambient noise was so low, but it was very annoying and it cost me a lot of sleep. And it got to the point where I went on the internet, bad idea, to read what others' experiences had been. And there were some people saying that they never regained full hearing and that bummed me out so hard. I'm just the thought of not being able to hear out of one and still having to do the other ear, and who knows what would have happened then. Just the idea of that bummed me out. Then I read other people said 4 to 6 weeks to regain hearing. It took me 17 days, thankfully. One of the best feelings I've ever had. I was at the park with my wife and daughter, and I heard a jogger approaching on the left side, which is what affected ear, of course. And it was such a great feeling because I could kind of hear, and it was just, I can't describe the feeling. It was an amazing, amazing feeling. And it was a great, very memorable day after not knowing if I'd regain full hearing. I got some pictures here that my doctor took during surgery. So, not sure how well you can see it, but you can cut in with the pictures I emailed. So his first one is my ear being spread open by some medical device. I'm completely out on general anesthesia. You can see that there's nothing. You cannot see my eardrum at all. It's covered up with the bony growths, the exostoses. On the second picture, you can kind of see we're about, I believe he told me this was about an hour into surgery. He's been chipping and drilling away. You can kind of see my eardrum in the back there. And this is at the very tail end of surgery. Kind of looks like a hermit crab with its legs curled up inside it. But there's my eardrum after who knows how many years of not seeing any light or being exposed to the air, but there it is. I had to get my second ear done, and that was a little tricky because it took 19 days that time. So I was a grizzled veteran of surfer's ear surgery after my left one was done and everything came out fine, thankfully, after almost 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks of not being able to hear. This one took 19 days, and that bummed me out. Around day 17, I wasn't hearing out of this ear, and I go, uh-oh. But eventually it did come out, and everything was fine. My surgeries cost me, I had insurance, so it cost me just under $5,000. And without insurance, I did this math, it would have cost me over $40,000. The earplugs, I believe, cost a little over $100. It's a no-brainer. I know it's slightly inconvenient. I know the expense is no fun up front, but trust me, not only do you save tens of thousands of dollars by wearing your surf ears, you will save emotional and physical pain, missed work, horrible nausea. That tinnitus is a horrible and fully preventable with surf ears feeling. Trust me on this, guys. Get surf ears, protect your ears, and don't do the same thing I did and suffer through that. Thanks.